Visual arts is a generalist course that students have to elect to do, so not everyone has to do visual arts. Basically we're trying to explain the importance of visual arts in the world because it is a major section of the community, and generally we believe that people who understand visual arts have better lives. So once you get open to aesthetic things, you actually have a much better life than those people who don't have much of an aesthetic awareness. The preliminary course is based on two parts. It has making stuff and studying stuff. In the studying stuff, the Board of Studies has developed a whole lot of language that is specific just to the course, so students have to learn that. In making, students are just led through a lot of basic stuff just to give them some experience in both 2D and 3D media, so things that are sculptural things as well as things that are sort of flat and drawy and painting. The course starts to go a bit more in depth. Students are getting ready for the exam. The problem with our exam is really concise, so they've only got an hour and a half to get a whole lot of information down. The students are doing case studies to prepare for their essay, and in the first section of the exam the Board of Studies gives them 3 questions where they get images they've never seen before, and they've got to talk about them in relationship to the course, so that's quite tricky to master. In art making, they get to do a body of work, and the body of work is judged by people outside the school, so again that's quite tricky to get students to a really high level, especially when they're never going to meet their markers. The main problem with HSC is students need to be consistent, so they need to work across the 4 terms of the course, term 4, term 1, term 2, term 3, but then also because they finish in major worky, body of worky things, they need to also reach a pretty high standard with that. So the problem is to work consistently while really managing those major projects, and if students have more than one major project, like with drama or society and culture, people, whatever, that becomes a big overlap in workload. Major project, the only difference is we don't, it's called the body of work because there isn't like this major work masterpiece focus anymore. So the Board of Studies is more in love with students following a process and working for 4 terms, and out of that they select their artworks to put in for HSC, and that's because after school lots of institutions got a bit tired of art kids rocking up to TAFE and uni with just one artwork that they've agonised over, rather than having like a body of work, having a number of things they've worked on. Course fee, we're part of a government school, so students who can't pay a fee are covered with that. The fee's really minimal because most students provide their own stuff, but we ask for $50 a year, both in Year 11 and Year 12, and from that students should pretty much see that those materials return to them. But most students who do really well finance their own stuff. So if someone's doing photography, for instance, we can't hope to have 75 cameras that we can lend out to people. We expect people to sort of resource themselves a bit that way. And that's sort of sensible because the year after school, if they're going to continue, they need to have a little kit of stuff to work with. This course is really useful in other courses. We find that students use their art stuff with advanced English when they're looking for related texts and things. It really suits design tech, drama, people who do costume design and things like that. And again, we're back to the idea that I think that students who become more aware and get involved in it, learning about aesthetics, generally have a better understanding of things happening. But we find lots of students who are involved in other higher levels of courses in the humanities. Visual arts really helps them with their study of history, those sorts of things. Students after school go lots of different ways. What's happening now is most of the traditional jobs are changing now that we're getting to an increasingly computer world. Basically the concept of working with design and being creative industries That's becoming a big area. Lots of our students who stay with creative arts areas end up in areas like filmmaking and design and set design, costume design, like things to do with the movies generally, directing, those sorts of things. We do have fine artists. We do have students who've gone on and made a career out of fine arts, art criticism. There's a whole lot of things. Conservation, people who work on restoring artworks and things as well. There's a whole lot of places you can go. But again, generally this idea of if you've got aesthetic awareness, like you can take that into lots of aspects of your life, not just straight creative arts.